Insemmulkom aħna ta' Happy Parenting Malta for Happier Children għal darb'oħra ninsabu fil-Parlament. Fil-preżenza ta' illum, fil-preżenza ta' Dr. Adrian Delia li qed jappoġġa din il-kampanja ta' 17 jum li t-tfal għandhom bżonn is-sem attiv taż-żewġ ġenituri u li Parental Alienation i violenza fil-familja kollha. Dr. Delia.
Grazzi. If there is any campaign that I feel that not only should I support totally, but believe in wholly, I think it is something which is the core of not only society, every single society in the world. And it is parental alienation, not because it is only happy parenting like you have explained in the introduction, but because it is also the right of the children to have not only access but full enjoyment of the parents and grandparents from both sides. We have for years fought for the right of life, for the right of enjoyment of life, for the right of property, and many other rights. One single particular life which brings various rights, but the enjoyment of those rights. So it is, yes, obvious that everybody has the need to enjoy his life, but family is the most important thing, which then will affect throughout one's life. The problem is this, that, let me speak only about Malta because I don't feel that I have the information, data and authority enough to speak about elsewhere. Many a times we look at the perspective of the one parent who, in some manner or other, has enough strength, influence, or power to proceed to keep children for their own as if they were possessions. But that's not how it works. Every single parent, every single person has some good, some bad, a lot of good, a lot of bad. But the right of the kids to enjoy both the parents and feel and learn and experience, because they are by birth deriving from both parents, is in my mind a sacred right. And the parents, I also mean the grandparents, who have a lot to contribute in society. We can look at it from the perspective of the parent himself, and there it is evident that there is a right, and that right, at least in our country, is not being fulfilled, protected enough. And the courts sometimes, though on paper, are doing or giving access to the children, or to the parents, or to the grandparents, effectively when it comes to execution, are doing very little to effectively give the full execution of this right. What can we do? First of all, awareness. Secondly, legislative change in a manner which is pragmatic, not only substantial in writing. Yes, we need to create, legislate, but then we need to have a system which actually executes that legislation without harming the children. Because many a time, in the execution of disputes between parents, it is the children that suffer. And that is the challenge that we have in front of us, to create, to change, to legislate in a manner where the children's right to enjoy both parents, the parents' right to enjoy the children, and the parents too, becomes not only a part of our legislation, but a part of our social structure.
Thank you, Dr. Delia. Now, conclusion by our founder, Ħnq̃ 𝓒𝓾𝓼𝓮, in English, please.
Thank you, Dr. Delia. We really appreciate your support and very good words. Yes, unfortunately, the system has failed many, many, many children. Unfortunately, they are also not executing or not giving that right. But I go beyond that and say, at times, unfortunately, being the third-party alienator. And we've spoken this in our first international conference, where we had somebody from America speaking about an expert from a forensic clinical psychologist, child psychologist, 𝓢𝓾𝓹𝓹𝓸𝓻𝓽, where he speaks a lot about the third-party alienation. And the system, unfortunately, is obviously attributing to that. And that domestic violence is not against gender or another, it's against all human beings, all families, and that parental alienation, grandparental alienation, is family violence. So we are doing 17 days, once again, another year of Black Christmas, where it's a lot of sorrow for many, many people without their children, because they're being deprived without any justification. Sometimes it's so very trivial things becomes very, very large in court and stretched with starting, with the police and the professionals and turned around, counterintuitive. So therefore we have to be very, very careful in how to investigate and investigate thorough and quickly, not for on and on and on and on for many, many, many years. A lot of parents and grandparents are being deprived, erased from the child's memories, erased from the child's life, and the children deserve to love both parents. Not only the need, as Dr. Adrian Delia said, they deserve to love both parents. So therefore, let's stop, let's continue the campaign. We thank you once again, Dr. Adrian Delia. I know that when you were the opposition leader, obviously you gave us a whole hour or more, and you listened to us and you supported us, and we really appreciate your support. And please continue to support us, because we need encouragement. And if we can put it down in writing, just as he said, put it down in Parliament, in the manifest that's coming up in the elections. We appeal to all parties come together. This is a national crisis. This is a social issue. It's a society issue. If the children are deprived from their loved ones, their parents, their family, erased from them, we're destroying our society. And, we should be doing this every day. And the government and the state and the opposition and everyone involved should wake up to this reality. We've spoken in Parliament, and you were there, I remember, with Grandparents Malta, with 𝓢𝓾𝓹𝓹𝓸𝓻𝓽, from here I will say hello, where 3 years ago we came to Parliament and spoke in Parliament about grandparents, and grandparents, how much they're suffering as well, and the parents are suffering. So let's continue the awareness, the education, the intervention, the prevention, and cohesion voice. This psychological maltreatment on children, this is child abuse. It should be the #1 priority in the country for many, many people. Thank you, Dr. Adrian Delia. I really appreciate it.
Just one minute.
Yes.
So, in our country, if you are deprived of property, there's a specific process with compensation and interest, and the government even intervenes to pay himself. Property, a building, a garage, a house, property. Now just give me the parallel of the pain, hurt, suffering, compensation, of being deprived, not of a property, stone, money, but of your own kids. Simple adjustments to the law. Processes of separation court which take years, where there are sometimes justifications in going into property and who's right and who's wrong, etc. If we could just, with one amendment, split the part of access to children the first 3 months.
Exactly.
That will mean the enjoyment, the benefit of years which otherwise are forfeited.
I'd just like to add more to that Dr. Ivan Samu, he could not be here today with us. He's our other pillar to Mary Gauci and myself. We started this NGO. He also mentions this, where they went abroad to the Strasbourg Parliament and sued the government regarding the property. And this should be the same. And there is one already happened on the 18th of April this year, 18th of March this year, where this needs to continue by other people, other parents, to put pressure on our state to change the legislation. So, like rightly so, Dr. Adrian Delia is saying about the property, we have to do the same about, especially towards children and families. So Thank you once again. We appreciate it.